Hello, everybody. Welcome to my channel, and thank you for joining. Now, in today's episode, we're going to continue our Kinder Surprise. Okay, now I'm just going to spoil you guys with chocolates. Just calm it down. Now, a long time ago, actually, my kids were small. It was and mind you, one of my kids now has kids, so it was a long time ago. I went to a restaurant. It was a Greek restaurant, and it was my friend's restaurant. He owned the restaurant. His name was Bill. He's a Greek boy. He was actually Yanis, okay, and it was in Johnson Street. Now I'm not sure if he still has that restaurant because we haven't been in contact for a while. But why I'm mentioning this restaurant is because it wasn't a normal restaurant. I mean, normally you go to a restaurant, they have a menu, okay? So when we went to his restaurant, I had 5 kids, okay? They're all small back then. So I took the 5 kids, the ex-wife. We all went to this restaurant looking for this menu. There's no menu, okay? We didn't know the Greek restaurants, some of them don't have menus. So he just said, you're just going to eat. It's a surprise. Whatever we serve you, that's what you're going to eat. So we said, okay, that's fine. So that's why I've gone with my Kinder Surprise, because whatever I serve up is what you're going to watch. Just calm it down. Now, we're going to go into the midfield, and today's review is going to be a Joy Newcomb. Now, we're going to have another review after this one. So the first review, I should say, is Joy Newcomb. Now, he's been requested by a lot of people, and I've been looking at him, and I haven't decided if I want him or not, because I want to do his review first, and then decide. So, Joy Newcomb, priced at 529k. Now that sounds like a bargain, okay? Considering those massive scores at the back end of last year and in the finals he had, which I'll share with you in a minute. Now, price similar to Joy Newcomb is Tim Taranto. We're gonna also do his review one day, okay? We got Connor Rosie, who's been requested, but he's not up today, okay? We got Maxi Holmes. We've already done his review. We have Will Day, which we've done his review. There's Dawson. His review will come up one day. We've got Hayden Young, and we've got the Horny Man. Okay, now, the Horny Man, actually, we're going to do his review today as well. So we're actually doing the review for John Newcomb and the Horny Man today. Okay, that's their reviews coming up. Now, with John Newcomb at 529k, it's an awkward price. You're getting him as a keeper. I mean, whichever one of these players you pick here, you're going to bring them in as keepers. They can't be. They're not mid-price madness. You know, they're not priced at the 430k range, which we're talking about, like the Cherries and let's Ashcroft in there. Okay, players like Ashcroft at 440k, roughly 80k to 100k cheaper. This is a different price range now. At this price range, you have to keep them. Okay, so you're bringing them in to be as good. Okay, they're going to be. You're thinking now that Joy Newcomb is going to be as good. Okay, as let's maybe not as good as Nick Dacos, but let's just say so wrong. He can maybe score on the same path length, but you're going to get him 100k cheaper. So that's why you're picking up Joy Newcomb. That's the reason. If you decide to go with him, okay. Now let's find out if he's worth it. Now this is Joy Newcomb's 4th year in the system. Okay. In his 2nd year, he averaged 86, which was huge, okay? And he's very durable as well. You can see here, 22 games, 22 and 23 games. So very durable young man. In 2023, he averaged 98. Now, let's quickly look at 2023 before we look at last year. Now, take notes, okay? There are scores of a 70, a 99, a 106, a 54. These scores here are the problem, okay, with Joy Newcomb. He falls asleep when he's playing. He goes to bed, okay, in the middle of in the middle of the MCG. He gets his blanket, his pillow, he falls asleep, and then the following week he wakes up, okay, and scores a 121, a 114, goes nuts, then back to sleep again, okay, 69. So he enjoys a snooze, okay. That's the problem now. Now we gotta find a way, because the ceiling is high. I mean, not necessarily in 2023 because the ceiling is 174, but the floor is very low. Okay, it's 53, 54, 69. That's a very low floor. Okay, for a high ceiling. when you got best 23, he actually suits the system, okay? Because especially when you got 23 primos in a team, and if the lowest scoring primo score drops out, most likely it'll be when John Newcomb has a bad day, okay? And when John Newcomb has a good day, he's probably going to be the vice captain because it's going to be a massive score. Because if we go to last year now, okay, let's go to last year. And at the start of the year, he fell asleep again, okay? 66, 66, 84. And I know people that owned him, and the seasons were ruined, okay? It's pretty much he ruined your season. Because if you've got a John Newcomb round 1, 2, and 3 scoring a total of 120, say 200 points in 3 games, and then your opponent, okay, let's say your opponent had, let's go to Frio, okay, and let's go to Sarong. And let's say your opponent had Sarong those 3 games, or the competition had Sarong those 3 games, and you can see what happens. I mean, you scored 200 points, the competition scored 440 points. The competition is 240 points in front of you, okay, just in a matter of 3 weeks from one player. That's disaster, okay? Now, we don't want that to happen. We don't want him to fall asleep, okay? So that's the thing now. Why does he fall asleep? We're going to find out what his problem is. Let's go back to John Newcomb. Because I looked it up. He didn't get tagged in any of these games. So it's not like he gets tagged, okay? It's something else, and we're gonna work it out. And because you can see here, all right, the back end of last year, 100, 105, 91, 162, 140. The other 2 scores, you can't see it. I'll show it to you in a minute because they're in the finals, and they're huge scores as well. And then he's got a 129, a 1. So he can back up. He can score a 129, then go to a 67. Okay, his floor is very low, like a 136 followed by a 68, and that's scary. Okay, that's a nightmare. Now, let's continue with John Newcomb. Now, the thing to take note of is his price. His price can fall instantly. Okay, hence his price is 529k this year. You can get, because his ceiling is high and his floor is low, his price drops. Okay, you can see he was worth 480k last year at one stage, around 8. You can get him for 480k. He could do it again. Okay, we're just going to hope he doesn't. Now we go to DFS Australia, our main source of information. Okay, now we go to Hawthorn CBAs. Okay, we've typed in Hawthorn CBAs. Now we got John Newcomb as the main man. Okay, he only plays in the midfield. Okay, he can't play anywhere else. All right, he's a midfielder, or he can, but he doesn't. He's their main man. And next to John Newcomb, we have Warple, okay, and then we have Will Day, because Will Day missed the first part of the season. You can see Will Day going in the 70s and 80s, the green and yellows I was talking about last time, and so does Newcomb. Now, take note, in round 18 against Freo, he only had 58%, so we're going to find out what happened that game. Anyway, let's go into John Newcomb now. Actually, before I go to look at his profile, I just want to take note here that Will Day didn't play rounds 1 to 6. Okay, so let's have a look at John Newcomb rounds 1 to 6. Now, rounds 1 to 6 last year, okay, without Will Day. Okay, now what did John Newcomb do? Scored at 66, 66. Let's see what he averaged, okay, without Will Day. That's 6 rounds. He averaged 86 without Will Day. Okay, now he needed Will Day, but then again, he sort of, you can say it was Will Day, but it wasn't, because he still scored a 110 and a 129. So he's had 32 touches. There's no Will Day. He's also had only 11 touches, and that's against Essendon. He's had a game where he's had 17 touches, 13 touches, then he has had 26 touches. Now, he's high risk, okay? Now, the last thing you want is a player falling asleep and you're just screaming at the television to tell him to wake up, okay? That's scary. Now, the good thing is when he is awake, okay? Now, check these scores out. I'm going to turn these ones off. Okay, I could have just pressed X, but it doesn't matter. Now, This is his last 4 games. He's averaging 145 in his last 4 games. Okay, now in those games, he had 31 touches, 35 touches, 35 touches again, and then 30. So in the 30s. Okay, so what has he done different? Well, he's played Richmond and he's played North Melbourne. Okay, so that explains these two. Okay, now then he's played the finals against the Dogs, and that's a they're tough nuts to crack. 35 touches against the Dogs. Okay, then he played against Port Adelaide, and they're pretty tough to crack. And he's had 31 touches. So he's done it against good opponents and weaker opponents. So it didn't matter. I mean, he had a higher ceiling against Richmond, but the point is, he went nuts. Now, let's check out his heat maps. The first round. Okay, let's have a look. Why did he only score 66? Okay, well, he was in the midfield, so it's not like he wasn't there. But keep in mind also, okay, there's another thing to take note of. Now, we go to afl.com.au, and we're going to have a look at the ladder after 6 rounds. Okay, let's go to round 6. Now, Hawthorn, at that time, okay, was second last on the ladder, 1 win and 5 losses, okay? The minute Will Day came in, what happened? Okay, round 7. Did they win? 1 win and 6 losses. Okay, by the time we get to round, that's unbelievable. Richmond was above them. Okay, now then we go to round 8. I mean, Richmond won the wooden spoon, and Hawthorn had a chance of playing the Premier for a premiership. Worked that out by round 7. Now, by round 8, they started to click, okay? So everything turned for them in round 8. So let's have a look at his average after round 8. Now, okay, we're over here, 2024. Okay, now, round 8. Let's start from here. Okay, so round 8, all the way to the top. What did he average when Hawthorn were doing well? Because at the first 7 rounds, Hawthorn weren't doing that well, okay? They were a very poor team. When they became a stronger team, what did he average? He averaged 108, okay? Literally, mind you, that's 4 big games there as well to get that average that high, because there was still games where he fell asleep, okay? You see a 65 and a 76. Now, his problem, and it's a big problem, okay, is here. It's a disposal efficiency, okay? Now, he worked out how to kick the ball, okay, after, where was it, round 22, he discovered how to kick, he got new shoes, okay, and he put them on, because before then, he was going at 67%, there's an 82 there, but 56%, actually, it's not that bad still, it's still 70s, it's actually not that bad. He used to be worse, okay, so he's actually improved it. So it wasn't a disposal efficiency. What was it? Okay, now, probably more handballs than kicks is a problem, okay? And probably his kicks are the ineffective ones, and his handballs are the effective ones. So every time he kicks, it doesn't go anywhere, okay? That's a possibility. I'm just guessing now, okay? Because usually a handball should hit a target. But it's a tough one to crack with this man, okay? Let's have a look at some training notes. Now, as I looked into Hawthorn, there's a little article here on Will Day. Now, I know I'm off topic, but I did do a Will Day player review. Okay, now, this wasn't out when I did the review, so let me just show you something on the Will Day play. This was 1 day ago, so this was literally yesterday. Okay, now, it talks about his collarbone injury and so forth, but also talks about on playing more time forward. Now, that scares me. It says, I think this time of the year is a great time to experiment. I've done a little bit in the past, and it's definitely something I'll to try to see if I can add another string to my bow to help the team. That'll be great. So what's it telling us? It's telling us that Will Day's going to play forward. Okay, that makes me scary now. Okay, I feel very scary. Just calm it down. Okay, now, it doesn't say anything on our boy here. No, there's nothing on him. So let me try to find some more, dig up some more dirts. Now, going back over here, Joe Newcomb, 4th year, okay? then the 5th year, a player like Newcomb, it could be a breakout year. Now, I'm going back over to an article that's June 15. It says the rise of John Newcomb, and it mentions his tackling. Newcomb has averaged 21.5 disposals a game, 4.4 marks a game, 5.2 tackles. He's in the top 10 in the AFL for tackles. He comes 10th and ranks 12th for metres gained. He leads his team with total tackles, pressure acts, uncontested possessions, and inside 50s. I think this tells me enough. Okay, let's continue. Now, this is John Newcomb's round 1. He's 20 years old. Okay, we've got to keep that in mind. Okay, this is round 1, John Newcomb. Now, let's go back to John Newcomb. The same John Newcomb in at the MCG against the Western Bulldogs. Okay, in the final. Okay, John Newcomb, and that's the new map. Okay, so we see a year into the system. Okay, so we've got round 1. Okay, John Newcomb in round 1, and then and mind you, in round 1, who did he play? Okay, let's have a look. In round 1, he played Essendon, so that's not like he had a tough matchup. Okay, but in the Dogs is a tough matchup, and you can see the difference. John Newcomb has changed. So let's go to the final verdict. Now, when I said he's 20 years old, I think I made a mistake. He's 23. Okay, so let's get that correct. Okay, so he's 23 years old. Okay, into his 5th season. Okay, now so I just want to sort that out. So I don't want to give misinformation. Okay, so I had to check that up first. Now, if I had to choose one out of the two of them, okay, originally my decision was Will Day. Okay, after reading that article, it's amazing what a bit of studying, a bit of research does. Now, I don't want to have a player playing midfield then going forward. Okay, so I'm now taking Day out of my team. Okay, I don't think I can take it. I won't handle it. Okay, so the Day has gone. Okay, now with Newcomb. Okay, now there's upside. Okay, well, especially on his average. His average was 98. Okay, now he's priced at 98. Now, value wise, yes, there is value. Okay, yes, he can, if he goes at 110, and I think he can go at 110. Okay, he just needs to not fall asleep. That's the main thing. So if he can go at 110, because the good thing about Newcomb is those tackles. Let's go back over here. Okay, tackle numbers 6, 4, 1. Mind you, if that one tackle still scored a 140. Okay, 5, 2, 6, 3. So 8, 4, 3. He does tackle. We're at the start of the year, all right? Let's go to the start. 1 tackle. Okay, then he went to, where is it? All right, 1, 4, 6. So, no, he still did tackle. He just tackled when he was sleeping, okay? Now, anyway, let's get back over here now, all right? Back to the team, back to the sheet. Now, if he goes at 110, and we saw that he can go at a stretch, we just don't want those really, really bad 60 scores, because that really ruins his average, okay? But the ceiling is so high that he makes up for it. So he's got a possibility of making, being up 100k in value. So it could be worth a similar price to Sarong at 630k. Now, Hawthorn isn't the same Hawthorn in the first 6 rounds. We saw they were second last on the ladder. Richmond was above them after round 7. Okay, now work that out. However, Hawthorn has changed. Newcomb has changed. Keeper, well, if he averages 110, yes. Okay, so it's only if he averages that, 110. Anything below that is not a keeper. But at 110, he is a keeper. Now, he has the round 4 bye, okay? Then he has the round 16 bye. Okay, let me just confirm that. It's why it's always good to go and confirm it. Okay, it's actually he has the round 15 bye. Okay, now the round 4 bye is not a good bye. Okay, but the good thing is only shares it with Essendon. So if you have any Essendon players or Hawthorn players, well, I don't think anyone else from Hawthorn you'll have unless you go for the sick dog or Will Day. Okay, or Newcomb. or more from in the forward line. They're pretty much the only four players that are relevant at Hawthorn at the moment. But that round 4 bye isn't a big problem, okay? Because especially if you only have one player on that bye, if he misses, I mean, you've got enough players to cover you, okay? So it's no dramas. Now, the round 15 bye is actually a good bye, okay? Now, because he shares that with the Eagles. Now, you don't have many players from the Eagles in your team. Shares it with Melbourne. You may have Clayton Oliver. You may have Petrarca playing in the forward line later on, so you can get him there, okay? And you got Gawn, and that's pretty much it at Melbourne, okay? And then you got Adelaide, and at Adelaide, well, they got a few players, so you're probably going to have 6 players or 7 players missing, but you should by then have at least 22 or 23 primos. You should actually have 23 primos up to 24 by then. So if you got 6 or 7 missing, let's say 7, take out it from 24. You got 17 primos on field, even with him missing. So it wouldn't be a problem. Or if you don't like what you're seeing for 15 rounds with Joe Newcomb, you just upgrade him. Okay, you can get any Freo player, Carlton player. You can even get Cripps, because usually around 15 onwards, Cripps goes nuts. Okay, so Cripps usually drops in price around here and then goes nuts after round 15. So you could probably pick up Cripps then and just swap him. So it's something in the future you can think about. Anyway, you don't have to think about that now. So that's the bye covered. Okay, so let's get back to our sheet. Okay, now. Decision for me, okay, before I go to the decision, I'm going to say must have is a no. No, he's not a must have, okay. And for the notes, he comes with a risk, okay. And that's the risk is he falls asleep, okay. However, his 5th year now, ready to break out, had a very strong preseason. And Hawthorn is keen as mustards to play. I'm hoping that this habit of falling asleep doesn't exist anymore. Okay, and for me, the decision would be up to you. Okay, this one is go with the heart. Okay, you got to go with what you think, because this one's a tough one. Hang on, I'll change that, and I'll change that to up to you. Okay, so you have to decide. It's a tough one. For me, I'm willing to gamble on him. For me, it's a yes. I'm happy to gamble. I'm going to gamble on him. I think he's worth it. But again, it's your decision, okay? Because you are gambling. It's a risk. We don't want these scores, okay? Let's get back to these scores again. They're very scary, okay? Now, you don't want to see, even in the back end. Mind you, in the back end, he didn't do many, okay? There was a 65, a 76. There's the 2 bad ones. Who did he play? Round 17 and 19. Who was the opponents those days, those games? 17 is against Geelong at GMHBA, okay? And 19 was against Collingwood at the MCG. Maybe Collingwood played keepings off and he couldn't touch the ball, okay? At GMHBA Stadium, he didn't have much CBAs off memory. He did. He had 69%. Against Freo, he had 58%, but still scored 110. Where did he play that game? In the midfield. Okay, interesting. But anyway, that's a decision that you have to make, okay? It is a risk. Now, we go to the horny man, okay? Now, so we're going to go to the forward line here. Now, who are the best forwards? Now, I would say the horny man would almost top that list. Okay, so he would be almost better than all of them. Possibly Caleb Daniel and Jack McRae may average more than him. Okay, Rankin has a possibility to average more than him. Now, even though I did Parker's review and it wasn't a very good one for Parker. With the news now that Wardlaw is injured, and we don't know how bad the injury is, but if the injury is a long period of time, now Parker comes into the picture, okay, and he could be a player of interest, okay. So that's another one now we got. So rules out of the question, but now it could be appetising. So just keep that in mind as well with the Parker review I did, because we didn't factor in an injury to Wardlaw. Okay, so now Parker could be back in the picture. Now with other options. Now, I'll put Marshall here. He's injured at the moment, okay? Now, at St Kilda, they have another ruckman, okay? They have a Boyd, right? Let's put Boyd there. Now, if Boyd, because Boyd most likely will ruck while Marshall recovers. However, if he impresses, he may keep his spot. And if that happens, we may see Marshall get DPP and come into here, okay? Then we got Flanders. I'm going to do his review soon, okay? He's coming up very soon. And with Flanders, what happens if he plays forward on a half-forward line, okay? Doesn't get many CBAs like he did towards the back end of the year. So he can also have DPP, but then again, he can't, okay? So forget I said that, okay? Because he's already got DPP, so that crossed him off. That won't happen. Just cover down, okay? So that can't happen with Flanders. Now, even if he plays forward, he won't get 3 DPPs. Impossible. So we got Petrarca. The word on the street is he's definitely going to play forward, okay? So we're going to see Petrarca in our forward lines. He's coming here, coming soon, okay? Now, we just read an article at the Hawks, okay? It says Will Day. Actually, this was another article anyway. It was an article here we read before. They said that Will Day could play forward. Now, that's not guaranteed. He might have like 20%. So we can almost cross that off. But there's always a possibility that could happen, right? But let's just cross that off for now because it's irrelevant. So the Horny Man is locked in to our top 6. That's guaranteed. Now, I've gone to the Port Adelaide website, okay? And it says here, Willem Drew has undergone a minor foot procedure, all right? And it says that he should be available for round 1. So he was one of the factors that a lot of people were talking about that will be missing and that the Horny Man will take his spot. Well, it looks like he's available, but that doesn't mean that Horny Man won't get that midfield spot. It just means that he's available, okay? That's just to clear up the air here. Now, Port Adelaide's midfield isn't that deep, okay? Some teams like Richmond, they've got a ton of them, okay? But they're all part-timers. At Port Adelaide, Butters and Wines, who can also play as half forwards. Okay, that's pretty much where they started their careers. So you got Butters and Butters and Rosie. I was talking about. So you got Butters and Rosie. Then you got Wines. You got Drew. Sometimes Mead goes in there, but not really. Okay, so take Mead out. Let's put the Horny Man over here now. Okay, and you got the Horny Man. You got the 5 of them, the 5 amigos. Okay, that's their midfield. When they need to tag someone, usually Drew goes in there. Okay, to tag. Otherwise, it's the 4 of them. Now, if the Horny Man gets in there, who goes out? Well, probably Wines, or maybe they'll alternate. So they'll find a way. Okay, now let's go have a look at some CBAs at Port Adelaide. Now, in an interview that the Horny Man had, I'm not sure which station it was or which TV program it was, but he had an interview. And in the interview, he said that Hinkley wants him to play more midfield time. Okay, so it looks like he's going to have more action in the midfield. Now, let's have a look at how much midfield time he had last year. Okay, now, we've got all the midfielders here. It was pretty much Butters, okay, was the main man. Okay, and then you got Rosie, Wines, Drew, and the Horny Man. Okay, now, as you can see, the Horny Man did spend some time, but there's a lot of percentages where it was only 50%, 36%, 42%. So what we're going to do now is we're going to, because we know where he plays and what he does, okay? So we don't need to look at his heat maps and see how he runs, okay? But what we are going to do is we're going to calculate when he has a lot of time on ground in that midfield, what he averages. Now, before I even look at those averages, we're going to go on to a footy wire here. And just take note that this is the Horny Man's 4th year. Remember we looked at John Newcomb, and it's his 5th year. Well, this is Horny Man's 4th year, and he could be ready to sparkle, okay? He's averaged 99 in 2024. could go to next level to 110. Okay, now keep that in mind. Now, his scores, especially if he has more midfield time. Now, his scores last year, there were a lot of scores in the 90s and a couple of big ones, 140, 120, but again a 90. Then a few, one bad one, 46. That's a shocker. Okay, we're gonna find out what happened there, and a couple of bigger ones. But what happens is, even if he scores is 46 for you in round 18, it wouldn't matter because by then everyone would be an owner of the horny man, because being a top 6 forward, everyone would have him. What does matter is what he scores at the start of the year, because at this time, not everyone has him, okay? So you want him to go off to a flyer, okay? What he does here, it doesn't matter anymore, okay? It does matter for John Newcomb, because not everyone will have him, but the horny man, every man and his dog will have the horny man, okay? So he'll be in every team. And just to show you, he's already got 48% ownership, okay? That will go to 70 to 80% by the time people are upgrading their teams, okay? He'll be in every team, okay? Now, let's go back over here, all right? Now, what we're going to do now is look for CBAs where he's had 60% and more. Okay, then we're going to change it to 50%. Okay, let's go for 60 first. So every time he's had 60 or more. Okay. So going for all the 60s. Okay, there's a few. There's not many, but there is a few of them. And that's it. Now, 60% CBAs, he's averaged 102. Okay, now that's not that big. Okay, now his season average was 99. So there's not much difference between his season average and his actual average, all right, of 60% or more. Now, let's add in 50% or more, okay? So let's go 50% or more. Let's go over here. Okay, 50% or more, same thing, okay? It doesn't matter where he plays, he gets the same average, okay? So, and then if I go down to 40% or more, it's still going to be the same because that's what he's averaged, 100. So, that doesn't change. Now, we're going to look at Port Adelaide's bye round. Now, this is the only problem with the horny man. Now, he's got that round 12 bye. Okay, now, that's shared by, as I previously pointed out, if you watch one of my previous videos, that's shared by Carlton, North Melbourne, and the Dogs. The 4 most popular teams you can have that are Supercoach relevant, especially these 3, okay, North, Port, and the Dogs. Carlton, not as much as these boys, all right, but the maximum players you want on this bye is 6. So you've got to work out, if you have the horny man, how many Dogs players you got. Like you got Tim English, you got the Bont, okay. How many you got Butters here, and North Melbourne's got a whole stack of them. Okay, you got Sheasel, Sherry, you got Caleb Daniel now down there. So there's a few players, and you got McKercher as well. So you've got to decide now, what do you want to do? Okay, now if you're going to have eight or 9 players on this bye round, you're going to be in big trouble, especially for ranks. You're not going to be in trouble till you get to here, but once you get to round 12, this disaster. So that's something to think about. However, he is 48% owned, okay? So he doesn't come with much pressure. Well, when I say pressure, he's highly owned. Half the community have him, okay? So when half have him, everyone's in the same boat as you, okay, if you've got him as well. Well, 50% of them are anyway. Now, final verdict on the horny man, okay? Value-wise, well, before I get to the value, okay, points. I think he's going to go at 105. All right, that's what I put him at. He might go at 110. All right, but I don't want to go overboard and give him a higher average. I'll just underestimate 105. Okay, and be conservative. Now, value-wise, there's no value. Okay, he's already priced at 100. Okay, what happened to my shit? Where'd it go? Okay, over here. He's already priced at 100. So there's no value. Okay, I mean, you're only getting a value of extra 5, average of 5, which is not much. So let's say cash-wise, and by the time the extra 5 comes in round 12 or so, his price will stay the same. So it's 0. Okay, no value. Okay, however, he is underpriced. Okay, so when you say is there value, well, there is. Okay, but there isn't. Okay, so because there's upside to him. Okay, notes here, he has upside. Okay, that's one thing. The second note to here is you get him as a blocker. 50% own him. Okay, or if you don't want to have him, you anti-pot him. Okay, so it works both ways. So you go against the grain, okay, and you just hope he doesn't do well, okay. So like the stock market, when you short a stock, when a stock falls down, you want it to fall, so you short it, and then you sell it and you buy it back. So it's a bit different, but with the horny man, you can anti-pot him, all right. Now, is he a keeper? Yes. Decision for me. Yes, he's worth it. Okay, and must have. Well, it's a yes and a no. Okay, the yes is because of the upside. Okay, if the upside ticks, it's his fourth year. Okay, had a good preseason. If he goes massive, then it's a must-have. Okay, then you got to have him because you're going to miss out. However, if he continues along that 100 average, well, it's not a must-have because you're paying 537K for him. You can get the 450K players in other positions, and then get him later on. Okay, you got to eventually have him. Okay, you can't have a team without him in it. Okay, so he has to be there. So must have yes, and then no. So it's a maybe. Okay, must have is more a maybe. It's not a must have. As you can see, only 50% own him. Okay, so not a must have. And that's our the horny man review. Okay, and I think this was a pretty basic one, but I didn't expect his average to be the same when he had more time on ground in the midfield. I thought it'd be skyrocketing up, but it's not. It's the same thing when he plays forward. So it's actually an unusual stat. Anyway, that's all for today. Thank you for joining, and remember one thing: it's nice to be important, but it's important to be nice. Ciao for now.
That's all, folks.